Hello, everybody. This is Vegan FTA. It's me, Elle, and Kenny. Hello, Kenny.
Hello everyone, how's it going?
We're here to look at some news pieces over on Vegan FTA, and as well as that, then we're going to have Chase over. We're going to look at one of his videos, and he's going to come and give us some feedback on what he felt about it during the time. So that's very exciting. But our first news piece is US Vivisection company that surrendered 4,000 beagles is fined $35 million. On 3rd of June 2024, the US Department of Justice and the US Environmental Protection Agency announced that the company that surrendered 4,000 beagles from a dog breeding vivisection facility in Virginia in 2022 will have to pay $35 million in criminal fines, the largest ever amount of fines under the Criminal Welfare Act, donations and costs to upgrade their operations. So they'll be upgrading their operations to abuse beagles because the facility failed to meet minimum standards for the humane treatment of animals. Now, how do you feel about that, Kenny? Humane treatment of animals in vivisection?
Yeah, exactly. What really fascinates me about this actually is that obviously as a society we believe that we totally believe that we love animals, and at very least that these kinds of organizations would never mistreat, whether it be a farmed animal, like a dog, even worse so, the way that we feel about dogs. But it just goes to show that from that kind of perspective, we don't treat any animals as a society. What I'm trying to say, we don't treat any animals well. Dogs, cats, no one's safe from us,
No,
It's
we
crazy.
think every country, and we're in the UK specifically, we call ourselves the nation of dog lovers.
Yeah.
And even here in the UK, we are breeding beagles to test on them. That is just commonplace. It's something that happens, and we think we love the animals, but we exploit them and do such horrific things to them that are unspeakable. Like, if anyone that doesn't know what vivisection is, because it's not as commonly known about, then please have a look, because it is absolutely, and proceed with caution, because it's terrible, the things that we do to animals. They were breeding beagles for medical research, but undercover investigations and official inspections discovered many animal welfare problems. Shock horror. Federal officials claim that the company Envigo did not give sufficient food to the dogs. Veterinary care was inadequate. The beagles were housed in filthy conditions, and some had been euthanized without anesthesia. An inspection report from the US Department of Agriculture found that between January and July 2021, over 300 puppy deaths were attributed to unknown causes, and that the facility had not taken any additional steps to investigate the deaths or prevent similar losses in future. So, surprise, surprise, when animals are treated like commodities, their basic needs aren't met.
Exactly. Literally what I was just going to say. That's what I was trying to say earlier on. It just doesn't matter about the species. They treat them this way because they're nothing to them. They're just means to an end, as far as getting the results they want from whatever experiments that they're doing. The dogs don't mean anything to them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chase is in the chat right now. The future is vegan. Very base, Chase. Absolutely. According to ABC, one of the companies responsible for the facility, Envigo Global Services, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to violate the Clean Water Act, and another company, Envigo RMS, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to violate the Animal Welfare Act by failing to provide veterinary care, adequate staffing, and safe living conditions for the animal in the facility. Now, this shows the extent of welfare, like the difference between welfare and liberation, because even if you give them the adequate living conditions, the argument is it adequate when we are subjecting them to exploitation, commodification, killing, and torture? Like, torture is happening in these facilities. So it just shows that welfare is not the last step. And we were talking about that in the last live, weren't we? That, we would look back at other social justice movements and the welfarists within it. And we'd look at them now with complete scorn, and we'd say, hang on, the problem isn't the treatment. The problem is putting them in that position in the first place.
Yeah, after they've been tortured, they've got a comfy bed and they're in a cell. Like, yeah, insane.
Yeah, absolutely. And hello to everybody in the chat. We see you. Thank you for being here. Please smash the like button if you're over on Facebook, if you're over on YouTube, and make sure you're subscribed and you check out our videos that we publish quite regularly. So please make sure you stay in the loop so that you can see more of the news that we cover. And of course, lovely sanctuary videos as well, which are always nice to see, because we have to see this stuff, which is absolutely ridiculous. And we're going to cover some more stuff that's absolutely ridiculous and horrible. But the parent company will now have to pay $35 million and be subject to a compliance monitor and increased standards for their operations. And many of the dogs rescued from the facility have now been adopted into new homes. And of course, we've seen Beagles be rescued before, and they suffer tremendous PTSD trauma. So they will live with the consequences of being subjected to what they were subjected to for the rest of their lives. But at least they will be safe from any further harm. Is there anything further you want to say on this one, Kenny, or should we move forward?
No, we can move to the next one for sure.
Okay, absolutely. Lidl Belgium drops prices of plant-based protein products. And we saw something similarly with Lidl last time. They have increased the number of products that they're selling that are plant-based. So it kind of follows, and it's not surprising that the prices are going to drop. And then people won't be able to say, and they already can't say, really, that plant-based food is so expensive because it's some of the cheapest foods available. But if everything that's plant-based is on par with the other affordable items that are unfortunately the bodies and secretions of animals, then people are going to have even less of an excuse. But from 15th, well, sorry, do you want to say something?
Oh, no, it's cool. On you go, sorry.
Okay. From 15th of May 2024, the Belgium division of Lidl, a German international discount retailer chain that operates over 12,000 stores in Europe, permanently cut the prices of its plant-based protein products. This decision was made after the retailer commissioned a study on iVox, which found that 42% of Belgians would purchase more vegetarian and vegan foods if they were cheaper, which is interesting. I think I did hear something before that if things are affordable, people will buy them. So my idea of what I think will happen in future is that the true cost of animal products will be seen because of subsidies and lobbying no longer being available, and people just won't be able to afford them, so they won't buy them, which would be so helpful because then the boycott would be happening accidentally.
Because the subsidies are literally, like we covered I think in the last one or the one before, in the tens of billions. It's just so much money. But it's like double-edged sword with it, isn't it? Because up until this point, a lot of people, and as you rightly pointed out, it's plant-based substitute foods that are the more expensive ones. And don't get me wrong, there's cheap ones of those as well, but they're obviously not as high quality as the more expensive ones. And it's I would buy them if they were cheaper, and it's they won't get cheaper if we don't buy them though. They'll get cheaper if more people buy them. So it seems like the only way is for the organizations to take a hit basically and just have them be less profitable so that people will buy them until they become more popular.
Which I do see happening, and it seems to be happening here. The result of this reduction is price parity between Lidl plant-based protein products and their animal-based equivalents, which should boost customers' purchasing of vegan products. Lidl Belgium said it aims at doubling sales of plant-based protein products by 2030, increasing the share of its dairy alternatives to 10%, and expanding its range to make 20% of protein sources plant-based by 2030. The retailer has a strategy to encourage customers to shift towards sustainable proteins, so all these changes are consistent with that policy. In May this year, Lidl also reported an increase of vegan sales of 30% in its stores in Germany, which we did cover in a previous live. Lidl's increase in vegan sales has occurred after it brought the price of plant-based products in line with their non-vegan traditional versions, as its Belgian division has now done. It's also discovering that putting vegan products in the meat aisles boosted sales. However, despite all of these changes, Lidl's continues supporting animal agriculture, and animal rights groups claim it continues to tolerate animal abuse, which it does if it supports animal agriculture, absolutely. On 8th of July 2023, animal rights activists from the group Open Cages protested outside 30 Lidl supermarket stores across the UK after footage showing alleged animal abuse in one of the farms that supplied the discount supermarket chain was made public. The images were recorded by a whistleblower from a Birchwood farm, which Lidl denied is one of its suppliers of chickens, but the animal rights group claimed they had evidence that this is a lie. Protesters gathered at stores in London, Bristol, and Glasgow. Yeah, it is unfortunate that their aims are to have 20% of the products that are proteins to be plant-based rather than just all of it. It would be amazing to see a company like Lidl, like a supermarket chain or something like that, be very brave and just ditch all of that instead of, being alongside, these companies that they constantly say, oh no, we're not part of that. We don't know anything about this abuse, but abuse is happening on farms all of the time. It's entailed in the process.
Yeah. It would be cool to see an organization of like a larger size, like make an ethical commitment, and obviously the ethical commitment would to be logically, like to be consistent, would have to be 100%. But as it says earlier in the article, it's a like sustainability goal, so that's the issue, right? Yeah. It's like meeting some sort of I guess it's they want to have like a lower carbon footprint or something. But interesting that it's come from inside though.
And imagine more of that will happen, which is a small win. And if it's cheaper, then that means you can buy more of it, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
And other countries will probably follow suit. We'll probably see the same thing in the UK. Like, I don't know what people talk about. I was walking down the flesh aisle the other day, and I didn't realize how expensive flesh is. Even with subsidies, I was like, oh my god, like people want to talk about how this like is so much cheaper. Like I'm so out of the loop, I haven't bought it in 10 years, but like goodness, I'm tempted to kind of like investigate the prices further, because I'm kind of sick of hearing oh, it's too expensive. It's like, no, food now is expensive.
Shopping in general is more expensive, but it might be good. Like, probably is a good thing for us to like remind ourselves more frequently, because like the amount of food that you get for like a £5 or whatever, like it's not that much. Like if you spent a £5 on like canned legumes and beans and that, you'd get so much more protein, so many more meals out of that.
Like pasta, rice, all these things, they are like cheap, like potatoes, vegetables, way cheaper. You could get far more bang for your buck if you do that. But yeah, Kenny, you ready for the next story?
Yeah.
This one is quite new because Animal Rising recently announced that they had been investigating about 40 farms. So that's now the biggest expose ever of dozens of RSPCA assured farms in the UK. So they've gone to RSPCA assured farms. They've investigated them to see what's going on, see, you know, how good they are. You know, I literally went into a shop today and I saw the RSPCA Assured, like an animal welfare, like, what do you call it? Like a placard. You're proudly spouting animal welfare, like how great the supermarket is because of the animal welfare, and it had the RSPCA Assured logo. So this is rampant. The RSPCA like to put their stamp on things, and people feel comfortable on everything. It's you can't miss it. Actually, when I started like realizing just how much they've put their stamp on things, it was hard to miss. So yeah, on the 9th of June 2024, the UK animal rights organisation Animal Rising released the largest farm investigation in UK history, exposing what they say is a systemic cruelty of over 40 farms under the RSPCA Assured Scheme. They carried out over 60 undercover investigations and claim they found widespread suffering in every single one. And they do actually have a video uploaded to their YouTube channel where you can see the footage that they have uncovered from visiting these places, and it is damning. The group has released the report titled RSPCA Assured, in quotes, covering up cruelty on an industrial scale. An investigation into animal suffering and widespread regulation breaches on 45 RSPCA Assured Scheme farms in England and Scotland. In it, we can read, verified by a specialist barrister in animal welfare, we found 280 legal breaches and a further 94 breaches of DEFRA codes of practice. We have found pigs lying dead in the middle of pen aisles, chicks dead from dehydration and starvation, salmon and trout with eyes and body parts missing, laying hens having lost their feathers from distress, pigs dragging themselves across the floor because their legs aren't working, sheds holding up to 64,000 chickens at a time. And as referenced before, you can see footage of this over on their YouTube channel. And it's referenced here. Animal Rising has produced a very impressive high production video showing a summary of their findings, which exposed the condition of factory farms of all types, including chickens, pigs, and salmons, all of them rubber stamped under the RSPCA Assured Scheme, which is supposed to only accept the farms with the best animal welfare. So I myself have been to RSPCA Assured farms, and yeah, what you take from it is, if this is supposed to be the best, then what does the worst look like? You know, these conditions that these animals are in are just awful. The way they're selectively bred leads them to be in terrible conditions very easily. It is not, you're not hard pressed to find an animal who's sick. You're not hard pressed to find an animal who's dead already. You're not hard-pressed to find an animal who is in a tremendous amount of suffering. And this is supposed to be the best of the best. It's RSPCA Assured. It's high welfare, again, showing the problems with welfare. What do you think, Kenny?
I think that it's like everyone thinks all their meat comes from a small farm, and like a small, really lovely, like heavenly place. And it's the photography, like as you pointed out earlier on in the supermarket, like the big thing that shows where you are in the aisle, the photography, it's like 1-2 animals, loads of grass.
Every time.
Like happy farmer, like all this stuff, it's like should totally be illegal to like basically it's literally false advertisement. Everyone thinks that their products come from farms that look like that. This should 100,000,000% be like rid us of the bad apple argument.
Yes, it should.
It's the whole thing. It's the whole entire thing. It's just the way that it is.
As is said in the actual video, the whole barrel is rotten. It's just the barrel. It's completely rotten. And the video also shows something better, the rescuing of a young pig named Charlie from one of the farms, and Patterson saying, we shouldn't be the ones having to rescue animals from the RSPCA. They should be rescuing animals from this industry. We're asking them to drop the Assured Scheme and start telling the truth. And you'll want to watch the video because Charlie's a really sweet pig. They had like an abscess on their head. And yeah, they were rescued. And it's just horrible. It's like a bittersweet thing when you see an animal be rescued, because they get a chance to live out their lives and they are so sweet and they have their own personality. And then you just think about all the other animals who are in there as individuals having an experience that's horrible, and it will be cut short. And it's just horrible. And as I said, we shouldn't be the ones having to rescue animals from the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals.
Yeah. Another part of the whole the like misleading the public and the propaganda and all that is the fact that whenever you see the RSPCA in the mainstream on telly or whatever, it's them like rescuing animals, like rescuing wildlife and rescuing like quote unquote pet animals. Like that's the public perception. There is no program about the like, or not that I'm aware of, about the like RSPCA like Assured Farms scheme, and like they don't show on TV that they approve gas chambers and all that. They just show them like rescuing animals. So we think like if the RSPCA puts a label on something, it's like got to be great. It's got to be like amazing. This is the problem, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Animal Rising now has a petition people can sign to ask the RSPCA to drop their Assured Scheme. In it, we can read, over the past 4 months, we have conducted the biggest investigation in UK history, covering 45 farms with 60 investigations. What we found was widespread and systemic suffering and factory farming. After seeing the footage of these investigations, RSPCA President Chris Packham has called the Assured Scheme indefensible. So Chris Packham, the president of RSPCA, yeah, who's recently become the president of it, and he is a vegan to my understanding. He has called it indefensible. So he's the president there. So hopefully something will come of it. I don't know.
Well, I just seen on a good friend's Instagram story today, so all I have to provide evidence for this is an Instagram story, so please look into it. The RSPCA removed, like, so you know how the RSPCA have got like meat recipes and stuff on the website?
Yeah, which is absolutely wild, isn't it? Yeah. Absolutely wild.
Apparently they've removed all that.
Yeah, I saw that as well, and I don't know. I never saw what it was like before, or I haven't even looked for the after. But yeah, if that's the case, then that's quite funny. They might have well been notified. If they surely know about this.
So I'm wondering if this is like, are these like the little changes that someone like Chris Packham like has the power to do? Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so that is the end of this one. I'll get the petition and I'll put it in the chat. You can see here on animalrising.org, and I'll put the link in the chat so you can see.